Well, hey everybody, it's Dr. Dan Lawrence. I wanted to try making some more casual, slower paced, maybe heart to heart kind of videos to see how that would work to talk about topics that are interesting to me and things that I'm thinking about lately. Um, in the first one I want to do is about slowing down, something I'm meta reflecting on, right? I want to be a little bit slower and a little bit more deliberate. And it was advice that I had from one of my professors when I was in graduate school doing my doctoral work at Michigan Technological University and kind of rushing, going too fast, particularly in the preparation of my dissertation. And I remember Dr. Johnson just saying, slow down. It's okay to slow down. And I love right now that I'm seeing more broadly this kind of consciousness manifesting in the US at least and in other places across the world, maybe as a post COVID reaction, but where people seem to be more conscious of their what's called work life balance. I don't really like that term, but um, sure, the quiet quitting phenomenon, a variety of social, cultural, economic, and labor trends where people are pushing back against the corporate work life. And I get that because I was there. It wasn't that many years ago. Before I was in academia, I was in the corporate private sphere. And it's tough, you're working more than 40 hours a week. You don't really have any vacation time at all. Federal holidays, sure, but and there are way more demanding jobs. Certainly, I mean, there was just across out my window here, I can see the Fraser shipyards where a 64-year-old man just fell off a ship a week ago and died. Fell into the dry dock, 100 feet or something. Um, so I'm not complaining about the conditions necessarily of sitting in an office, but 50 out of 52 weeks a year, maybe more than that. 40 hours a week or more, maybe more than that. Um, and you're rushing and you're never really thinking, you're never really stopping to strategize or philosophize or ask yourself whether what you're doing is contributing to the human condition or if you're solving any problems that are worthwhile or stepping back to even analyze data, wondering if, I don't know, the direction that you're going in is strategic or worthwhile. But we're rushing always. And I like that there's this kind of this new social cultural consciousness that's rising about this. Um, I work a lot. I probably work too much. I'm a professor now, and I'll be up for tenure next year and moving right now, just in that process from assistant to associate professor. And, I need to slow down too. I have 3 kids and a wonderful wife and a beautiful old home that's kind of falling apart and needs some work. And it's busy, right? And then your mortality too. We don't know how much time we have here, and it's your one chance. It seems to be your one chance in the entire universe to ever be here. And once you're gone for an infinite amount of time. Not that you should panic about that necessarily, but that you should be aware of it. To wonder if to make that, to focus on that as at least momentarily, is to allow yourself the opportunity to wonder if what you're doing with your life is the right thing, to wonder if it's a good thing. That's the ancient Socratic kind of, I like those questions. Those are useful questions still today. It's why I read Plato with my students, for other reasons too that are more topical, related to rhetoric and truth and that sort of thing. That'll be another video maybe. But that's a whole nother discussion. But those questions are still really good. Those are good questions to ask yourself. Why am I here? And what is a good life? And how should a society be structured? And we haven't figured that out yet. The human project is still really young. And we need new ideas. We need more and better ideas and more diversity of ideas to kind of figure out um, how to live better lives and how to structure our lives. And it starts with those questions, right? It starts with asking, what is a good life? What should we be doing with our time? Where should we be going? How should we structure our societies? How should we spend our time? Well, so where is this all going? Is, not that I'm so uh, arrogant as to pretend I can offer advice to you, but I have been successful uh, in life and stable and happy family and solid career, and everything's going well personally, financially, and among the categories that you could attempt to quantify or qualify or rate or rank those things. Things are going really well. And what I would like to, from someone, I would like to tell you from someone who's done well in life and has succeeded, that it's okay to slow down. That's what I want to tell you. That's the message I'd like to get across to you, wherever you are or whoever you are. There's this rush, there's this force, this kind of grinding mindset. I don't know if it's a necessarily or particularly American thing, but that kind of Dave Ramsey, get a second job and a third job, and work 100 hours a week and just grind yourself into a pulp so that you can make a few more dollars. I don't know. I don't think that's it. I really don't. Maybe for you, and I won't yuck your yum if that's what you want to. If you need to grind out and do that for a little bit to pay off some debts or something, like, sure, like that could be useful. But as a long-term sustainable life strategy, that's probably not going to work out that well for most people. You need time to. The unexamined life is not worth living, right? You need time. You need to make time to step back and reprioritize and think about what you're doing, and to have an idea, right? Say you want to write a book or something. It's like you need time to come up with a good idea. You have to break away. That might mean like proximically, geographically, or taking a walk or whatever it is. But carving out the space to do that. One of the best books I've read over the last couple of years is Jenny Odell's How to Do Nothing, which is a little bit of, like a purposefully misleading title. It's not literally how to sit still and do nothing, but um, breaking away from this over optimized, fast paced, notification driven, addictive, technological, digital lifestyle, and to resist that, and to resist that in a purposeful and conscious way that can even be in a way a kind of well, it can be personally redemptive, but it can also be like politically powerful to distance yourself from the noise, the outrageous noise of the machinery of modern life. It can be very useful to distance yourself from that and to just give yourself space to think and to philosophize and to ask a good question like, who am I? What is this rock? Where are we going? What are we doing? Is there a different way to do it? And there will be, and there will need to be too, because look, like inflation and extraordinarily expensive houses, and we were lucky to buy this house a few years ago because it's like doubled in value, and we wouldn't be able to afford it now. It's ridiculous, right? And that's just a minute present day. 100 years from now, there'll be all kinds of 1,000 years from now, 10,000 years from now, all kinds of other horrible problems. But those questions will still be important questions. How do you live a good life? What should we do with our time here? How should we treat one another? How should we structure societies such that they're just and good? And then what is justice and what is goodness? Yeah. Give yourself time to ask. That's my point here. That's the argument I'm making is slow down and breathe a little bit and give yourself time to do real philosophizing. I don't even mean like academic analytical philosophy, right? I mean just everyday practical philosophy. Ask questions and let your mind toy with them. Let your mind play around with it and explore different possibilities. And what would a perfect world look like? It's not naive. It's not naive to stop and wonder, what would the structure of utopia look like? And could we get a little bit closer to that? Or even just a decent, right at this point, a decent country. What would that look like? How would that be structured? What would the budget lines look like? And how could you house more people and feed more people and give access to information and education to more people? What would that really look like? And then how could you play a part in that? And or something else too, right? Like, what do you want to do? What do you want to do with your very short time that you're here? And how can you get a little bit closer to that? And do you even need to do that? That's up to you, right? Like, I mean, I always wanted to write books and like be a professor, and that's great. I did that, and there's not some there's not like a shiny magic orb on top of the mountain, you know. It's not there. You once you accomplish the goals that you set out to accomplish, there's you just keep going, and you still like eat breakfast and take a walk, and then new challenges and new puzzles and new problems come up, and there's no magic key on top of the ladder or something like that, right? It's this strange, cyclical, recursive, but also linear journey, your adventure through life. So take time. Take time to slow down, tap out of the machinery, and there's an overemphasis, I think, in our culture at the moment. At least, when from the sense that I get from like my students, from the sense that I get from film and streaming services, from the sense that I get on social media, from the kind of general cultural maelstrom of the moment. What I get is that there's this push toward this grinding, overworking mentality, and then I see a push back against that, and so I wanted to make a video from the perspective of someone who's, sure, I've worked hard in my life. I've accomplished a lot. I've published books and peer-reviewed research and got the PhD and became a professor and, going up for tenure next year, and done a lot with my life and had high-paying jobs in digital marketing. And look at me like, listing off all these things as if in the 10,000 years from now, as if that matters. It doesn't. That's the illusion. That's the great carrot, the mythical carrot that doesn't exist. But from someone who's, say, succeeded in the game of capitalism or something like that, who's played the game and figured it out and done well. I wanted to say to you, like, you have my permission to slow down a little bit, right? Not that you need my permission, but I just mean as a contrast to the horde of people on this platform, especially, that are telling you to go faster, to work harder, to work more hours, to take on a third job and all of that. I don't think that's the answer. Again, your life and your place and those are highly personal decisions and what you need to decide. But more important, I think, to a rich and fulfilling and interesting and meaningful life is to take the time to slow down and to think and to philosophize in a really classical sense, in the old school sense, not even in the, in a particular philosophical tradition. You know, you don't have to go read Heidegger. You can't. I mean, like that's interesting. Go read Heidegger, but you don't have. You don't have to do that just to stop and say, "What am I doing here?" So that's enough. That's enough kind of fatherly old man advice for the moment. But I hope you're doing well. I am. I'm having a good time, and things seem to just get better every year. And that won't always be the case. There's plenty of doom and misery and suffering ahead for me, just like there will be for you too. But find peace while you can, and enjoy it, and stop and think, slow down, resist against the machinery that's trying to design. Particularly, I'm thinking about the technology that we have that's designed to keep you in these kind of feedback loops and addicted to running and going. And slow down, think, write, read, have conversations, play music, dance, take a walk, look at a tree. I mean, really, I'm not joking. Go look at a tree and write about it. Think about a tree. Think about your relationship to a tree and the universe, and billions of galaxies out there. That's that has a lot of value in it too, right? We forget that. Okay. Old man rant over now, I guess. But take care of yourself.